colleges. And Sanderson was, traditionally known as a terrible basketball school, because when I played and we played Sanderson, like, we would beat them by like 40, 50 points. I didn't like playing them because you weren't going to play but a quarter, so that was no fun. I wanted to play, the entire game, and they were that type of school. Amazing in soccer, but basketball just wasn't their thing, but I wanted to accept the challenge. Long story short, we had some success. I had some really good kids and really good basketball players. Went deep into the playoffs. And here comes North Carolina Central calling. And they're making a transition from D2 to D1. And they called and said, we want you to come up and be the assistant coach. And I said, thank you, but no thank you. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. In the summers, I was training NBA basketball players. I was teaching. I thought teaching was the best job in America because you got three months off. And I was a 27, 28, 29-year-old single man. What other job do you get 3 months off in the summer? I had my basketball camps. I was living my life, and I was extremely happy. So I told Central no maybe 2 or 3 times. And then Luann Harris called me, and she was the head coach of the cheerleaders and someone who's been like my godmother for the longest, and incredibly dear, sweet lady. And she said, you really need to come back. We need you up here. And hearing her say that, I reevaluated the situation. I prayed about it, and, I went and I was assistant coach at North Carolina Central. And then after 2 years, it was such a struggle because we was going through the transition. And I'm thankful that Henry Dickerson gave me the opportunity to work under him and work on his staff. And then they ended up parting ways with him. So I called my principal back and said, I'm going back to high school. And somebody said, you should apply for the job. I was like, they're not going to give me no job. I don't have no D1 experience. Like, I know how the game works and the politics, and I applied, and, God blessed me with this situation. And it was a lot of riffraff when I got the job from some people because they said he's too young, he ain't got enough experience, blah, 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 blah. He ain't going to do this, do that. So the rest is history, I guess, as they say.
Coach, that right there, I'm just listening to you. I'm just listening and remembering everything that you said. I was still in the area. So, I experienced that. It felt like I experienced it with you. And when you got the head coaching job at Central, I'm like, man, they actually gave him a job. Because I figured, you played there. You're an assistant. They're probably not going to give you the job. They may, they're going to go to an older guy. But you actually got the job. And at that time, Central, they weren't the best team. Let's just put it out there. They weren't the best. They had been through some down years. And, you, Levelle Moton, former player at North Carolina Central, actually started that rebuilding process. And now I look back on it like, wow. Everything happened for a reason, and you just explained it to the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's here's the thing, man, and this is, and I speak to different groups all the time, different, groups of people in different walks of life, and everyone wants to kind of figure out the key to success or the secret to success. The secret is there is no secret. If I'm being honest with you, the secret is, number one, you better believe in yourself. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care who you are. I don't care what vocation you are in. You better believe in yourself, because there's going to come a time where you are alone, you are facing adversity, and your biggest cheerleader is going to have to be yourself. And I'm fortunate that I was the baby of my family, and my brother was 5 years older. So a lot of times he didn't even want me around. So I became a loner. I became this introverted individual. But what it did, it forced me to love myself. It forced me to become my best cheerleader when I was a kid. And now when I got the job at Central and all those people saying, why y'all hire this dude? He too young, he da-da-da-da. I was like the second youngest head coach in the country with no experience, with my first game coming up against North Carolina. But I was my own cheerleader, and I believed in myself. And that's the thing I tell everybody, because when you in your teens, you really care what people say about you. When you're 20s, you really care what people say about you. In your 30s, you say you don't care, but you care. When you're 40, oh, you really don't care at all. Like, I really don't care. that's the official grown man thing. Like, I'm 40. I don't care what nobody says. So that's been one of my biggest successes in life is just I had to believe in me. I had to look in that mirror and believe in me. And I'm cool with being Levelle Moton. There's not a day on this earth that I've ever woke up wanting or wishing to be another man. And that attitude right there radiates itself in all that I do. In my fatherhood, in coaching, in being a husband, in being a son, and being a brother, and being a friend. And I just encourage people to do that same thing.
I think a lot of that transitions from coming from where you came from, like you said, having that grandmother there to motivate you and to pray for you and to show you how to pray and to be a man, because being from a single parent household, a lot of our youth today come from that, yet they don't have necessarily the most positive influence as that single parent to afford them the opportunities to take that next step and to become successful.
Right, absolutely. And once again, man, you're right. Your upbringing is everything, whether it's right, wrong, and different. You just got to take the nuggets that lies within. And I tell people all the time, it's not where you reside, because I wouldn't trade my experience for anything, growing up in those housing projects. But once again, it just made me believe in me, man. And we ain't have a lot of money. We ain't have none of those things, man. Like, we were the poorest of the poor. We on welfare, all of those things, man. But what we did have is morals and values. And my mother and my grandmother taught me those things. And it's nothing anyone can say about me that I haven't heard when I was growing up. Man, I heard all the poor jokes a man could possibly hear. I heard all the ugly jokes a man could possibly hear from the females. I heard all the you from the wrong side of tracks jokes that I could possibly hear. I heard the racism jokes. Like, it's nothing you can say to me that I haven't heard before. So therefore, your opinion really doesn't matter. Even if you're telling me something positive, because whether they're stroking your ego or whether they're trying to tear you down, if they're trying to praise you or if they're trying to criticize you, it's a weakness to get caught up into either one. So regardless of how much they praise me, I'm never as good as they think. And regardless of how much they criticize me, I'm better than they think. So I'm always going to be somewhere in between, man. And so many times people in their respective careers allow what they do to define them. And I tell people all the time, man, basketball is what I do. It's not who I am. I love my job. I go above and beyond the call of duty. But I have learned more than anyone that as important as basketball is, there's more important things in this world, such as my kids, such as family, such as God. There's more important things in this world, and that's how I try to live my life.
Absolutely, Coach. Now, I had a lot of notes written down, things I wanted to ask you basketball wise, man. But you're becoming a motivational speaker on this line, man.
And I'm getting emotional. I'm getting emotional on my end.
I know, and then you just mentioned being a father, and you mentioned your kids. Now, I'm a happily married man. Been married 2 years. My wife, LaShawn, she's pregnant right now. 8.5 months pregnant.
Congrats.
Thank you, sir. With the first child, it's a girl. I need some advice, Coach. It's a girl, Coach. I need some advice.
Hey, I know the feeling. I
need some advice, Coach. Give me something. Give me anything, Coach. Give me something.
Look, man. Let me tell you something. I was in the same situation, and every man that I know, we always want a boy to carry the name. We want that boy, man. It's nothing like it. But God don't make any mistakes, man. And as bad as I wanted a boy, and before my wife was pregnant, I told her, I said, I don't want a girl because I don't think no woman should be walking this earth looking like me. I just can't see no little girl looking like me. Like, when you're going through the fatherhood phase, it's like, how are they gonna look, and those things. And we were blessed to have a beautiful little girl named Brooke, and that girl looks just like me. It's just the craziest thing. Like, all my mannerisms, everything, man. And we were blessed 3.5 years later to have a little boy, Vale Jr. And I will tell you this, and I hate to say it, but they can't hear the podcast right now. When I walk in my house after a day of work, Vale comes up and he give me pound and he go back to his room and play. My daughter, man, she breaks her neck coming down the stairs. She jumps in my arms. There's an unbreakable bond, man, that I would not trade for anything in the world. I don't care if we lost a game and it's heartbreaking or whatever. When I walk in that door, I'm not Coach Moton. I'm daddy, and I'm everything that she needs, and I'm the first person that she's ever been in love with. And
well, that's all right.
That just lifts my spirit. It's so difficult to explain. So
that's all right.
The bond between you and your girl, you'll come back and you'll tell me all about it. Your wife is gonna be extremely jealous, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. And my daughter, here's the thing about girls, they'll take care of you forever. You know, when you 85 years old and you laying in your bed and you can barely move and you want something to eat, and she's gonna come over, she gonna cook and prepare meals and rub your feet and give you a massage and all, take care of you. The little boy, oh man, he ain't doing nothing. Daddy, can I buy your credit card? You good? All right, I'll holler at you. Let me get the keys to the car. Like, little boys are trifling, man. So my baby girl gonna take care of me forever, and I'm gonna take care of her forever, because when my son 18, he got to get out of this house. My baby can stay, she can stay she can stay till she's 45, 50. So it's great, man. And parenting is a beautiful thing. I'm learning every single day. I don't have all the answers to it because it's really new to me, but it's my biggest achievement to this day, man, just being a father to those two beautiful kids.
Again, we are talking with North Carolina Central University's head men's basketball coach, Levelle Moton. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. And on the other side, more with Levelle Moton on the All Things Sport podcast.
Hi, this is Daimeon Banks. Thank you for listening to the All Things Sport podcast. You can also catch me on the Puff TV Morning Combo on Blog Talk Radio every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Call 347-677-0956 and I'll give you Sports by Daimeon.
The All Things Sport podcast.
We go back like spinal cords and car seats.
With Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
Welcome back to the All Things Sport podcast. I'm Pierre Banks, along with my brother from the same mother and father, and now my distant relative, head coach Levelle Moton of the North Carolina Central Eagles men's basketball team.
Historically, North Carolina Central has had a great basketball program. And when you came back, it was a little down. When you took the head coaching position, you began to build that back up. You know, culminating in 2009, man. You know, when you became the head coach, now you built that program back up from then. Now, in 2013-2014 season, that squad has to have a special place in your heart. MEAC champions, school record 28 wins. You know, you beat ACC team at Raleigh, NC State, first MEAC team to ever do that. First NCAA trip, for North Carolina Central. Man, I mean, explain what you had to do as far as work ethic, recruiting different players, just to get to that point in your career.
Man, that's such a loaded question, man, because you heard the slogan where you don't know what you have until it's gone. Well, that team was extremely special, and I miss every single one of those guys every single day. And here's the thing: when you build a team, everyone wants to build a team that you can win with, but before you win with that team, you got to build a team that you can lose with. Because losing in that adversity, that's going to introduce a man to himself. Everybody wants to win, and everyone is on cloud nine as long as they win it. You see what I'm saying? But basketball has become such a cynical sport that people have become really selfish. And now you have kids out here that's more concerned with, if I get 15 points and we lose, that's okay by me. instead of me getting 6 points and we win. So that team was so unselfish,